gentlemen, you may lag for break. Mr. Biado wins the lag.
Aloysius Yapp against Carlo Biado. And it's now.
Phone has been ringing non-stop from my friends and family. Everyone back home is supporting me to go all the way, and yeah, I feel really happy and grateful for their support.
This is the biggest prestigious event I've ever played, so I'm very happy to play in this event.
I'm just taking it easy, the job's not done, and yeah, I just want to focus on my match and do my best.
Well, I'm very happy because this is my first time to make it through the final. I'm happy of that. I hope it's gonna happen.
Here we go. It's final time of the US Open Pool Championship from the Harrods Resort, Atlantic City. Commentary team, JJ, Nick Sharman and Phil Yates.
It really is a privilege to be here, to witness this, the culmination of 6 days of glorious pool.
To break.
Something we haven't seen most of the day. The corner ball missed, but he did pocket the one in the corner, and those were pretty light, huh, Nick? Didn't put much into those.
No, they were possibly precariously light, but as you said, the one did find the corner. Two ball dressed up nicely.
And I still don't think Carlo has played that match that he really wants to play, and this first opening shot, with it being kind of a duck, I think that could bode well for settling in and getting along the way he wants to end this tournament.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, JJ. And it really speaks volumes to what a great player he is for you to even say that he hasn't quite put it all together yet here he is.
Oh, he's obviously one of the most steady players in the world, but can also come with the shot. And we saw really that two ball against Oy off the inner rail kind of changed his mojo around the table to finish that match.
Yeah, such a terrific shot. You were talking about what an incredible shot maker he is in big moments, and he came with it.
Yeah, and the difference between the two players that I see, the ones that are here in our final, is and they're both dangerous combinations, but I feel Carlo wanting it, in the state of really wanting it. Like he said, never been to this final before. He's gotten close. Where I look at Aloysius as a very dangerous opponent, because it seems he's enjoying the moment and that combination of in the moment.
Yeah,
that's a very dangerous combination.
Youthful exuberance as well. Race to 13 here, by the way, Jeremy. How does that change the dynamic?
Well, it just settles the guys a bit more, but they're both very aware of what has happened on this table. There's been a lot of racks run. We've had a few matches like the last where there were some exchanges, but it's going to be all about sitting your opponent down in that chair.
Lovely looking stroke there. Great start for Biado.
Of the two, Yapp has been the more prolific break and runner. But in this instance, it is Carlo Biado who gets off to a flyer, underlining the importance of the lag. And so the Filipino draws first blood. It's been a really tough road to this final. This, his 11th match. He lost his 4th, so spent a lot of time trying to make amends for that. He was beaten by David Al-Qaedi on this main match table, 11-5. But then reeled off 6 consecutive victories to be here. He's actually played 164 racks during the course of the tournament, so he certainly played in for us.
Yeah, and you know what? I saw Carlo just before the match doing sit-ups and push-ups, Jeremy. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, I used to, not do sit-ups and push-ups. I wanted to make sure I made my match, but I used to like to get the heart rate up before big matches, particularly at the U.S. Open, the old venue in Chesapeake. I would go around the building a few times, trying to almost work up a sweat a little bit, and then let the heart calm. But one thing I noticed immediately before the match started was first lag that I've seen Yapp lose.
Yeah, Yapp has been really dialed on the lag, freezing a few on the unrail. It was a close one, too.
Number 2. Current score is 1-0 in favor of Mr. Biado. Mr. Biado to break.
We know how big the lag can be at this level. Made the one in the side last break, Jeremy. A little soft, that cut break.
I think so. A little more cut. Oh, definitely differences there. That was head on and no cut at all, which I kind of feel is the break to get Carlo going, to be honest with you.
It's the rack to get him going as well. They're dressed up beautifully.
Well, just look at, you're going to make more balls, right? Which, brings us to less congestion. Pretty much has a look on every ball on the table, so I just kind of feel like if someone's going to put a lot of racks together, it's going to be from a little bit more of the firm head-on break. Okay, he's a little flat, but he can stun by the 9. The only thing you worry about here is if, the adrenaline gets you and your tip gets a little low and your cue ball goes towards that corner by the 8. Okay, he made sure of that. Funny little shot here because he needs an angle on the 7.
It almost looks like he's running into the 7 if he goes high ball. But he was able to circumvent that nicely with a beautiful little stun stroke.
Yeah, when you're close to the ball, you really preference. You can be so accurate, stunning, drawing, following. It does not really matter.
Well, you look settled right now, JJ. Stroke looks pretty crispy.
Well, I think we've talked about it not only this week, but every week, especially at the top level. When you get the break going, it kind of gets you going, Nick.
Pool perfection to start off with from Carlo Biado. 2 racks run directly from the break. He's looking good, the Filipino. He leads 2-0. What a journey it's been for him. Started playing the game at the age of 13. He was a caddy on the Villamor Air Base, the golf course there. He's from La Union province in the northwest of the Philippines. Took to pool like a duck to water, and now, 24 years later from those humble beginnings, he's heading towards the biggest title the sport has to offer.
You know what? 13's rather late for a world champion caliber player, JJ.
Well, it comes in all sizes. I didn't start till 17.
That's really late. Wow.
Yeah, really late. But, depending on what, size city or size area of the Philippines you're in, some things aren't as offered. But I think that's a pretty good age, 13. I think you develop pretty well from there, and you're young enough to not learn too much too quick.
Right.
I think that's what kind of hurts some of us that start a little later. You kind of understand side spin a little too early. You get away from fundamentals, but not with these two now. One thing good for Yapp is he trailed 3-0 in the semis. I think it was 3-0 against Dennis, so not too much of unfamiliar territory.
No, and he showed a lot of grit in that comeback, but right now all he can do is sit and watch. 2 ball down, 1 ball tracking.
He's going to get covered up, but...
And a familiar sight for Biado, Jeremy, at least in terms of prior matches. The one by the top right, but an impeding ball.
Yeah, and we've seen 3 different breaks. We've seen a cut break, made the one in the side. Much more of a smash in the second break head-on where the one went in the side. That one head-on, but not as much speed. So we're going to get our first look at Yapp, whether he takes the shot or not.
Mr. Yapp, your option.
Were he to accept procedures that speak to you right now, Jeremy?
Yeah, I don't think that Carlo will get this back. I like cutting the one and banging it around the table and drawing to the side rail and behind the 7-4 and all that. Kind of dropping the cue ball in the end rail. The one's going to have a little bit of gamble going around the table, but I think it's laying okay.
If he plays that, just have to watch that point of the middle side pocket.
Yeah, I think let the stroke out. Yeah, that's the shot I saw right there. You have such a ton of cover. It may not get there, but I think it's a good effort.
It's hard to tell from our vantage point. The round of applause would signify that he did get there. From the overhead, it looks very close.
Well, I'll tell you what, at a young age, this Aloysius Yapp sees all the shots, Nick. That's one that many pros won't recognize.
No, he moves tremendously well. Might we be playing a two-way shot of sorts where maybe we have a little action on the 9 going airborne?
If he gets into it thick, but I think he'll probably overcut the 9 to the side rail. Maybe off the 8, though. Watch out for the, what did you call it, the bumblebee? Coming off the one with the cue ball into the 9 off the 8. Ooh, wow.
Oh, how about just making the 1? Coming all the way around for perfect position on the 3. What a shot.
Yeah, and I get a feeling of a free roll for Carlo, meaning, you know, when you watch the interview, it was very personal to him that he had never made this final before. Now in the final, you may see him loosen up.
Yeah, I hear that. And also the Oi match was, in some regards, almost nervier than this one.
Oh, my.
Was that a miscue, Jeremy?
No, that was the quick backswing that got him a couple times in the last match. And what happens is when you go back quick, you don't want to quite accelerate and you don't get the energy into the cue ball.
I'll also say it seemed like a pretty bad contact.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. You know, your cue isn't accelerating, so the tip comes up, and therefore you don't get the draw on the ball. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, but you never know. He's made one big jump shot already. I need some help here. Okay, Yapp's going to get a shot to get started. All right, he certainly has accumulated some fans through the week.
Just that he has, and they let him hear it as he approaches this fairly simple run out for the elite levels. Needs to be mindful of the green. Looks like he can just follow forward and out.
And he likes to really get above the ball a lot of times, so we'll see if he plays from behind. Keeping it simple, not taking any chances.
He delivered in adversity in the semi-finals. He was 3-0 and 5-2 down against Biado's fellow countryman, Dennis Carlo.
He just continues to hit the pocket very sweetly.
Came up a little short, though.
Yeah, a little 50-ish here. I think he can follow and beat the side pocket, I think, but cueing over the 9. Very treacherous shot here.
Indeed, Testy down 2-0. Such a vital rack for him to clear. He's eyeing the side now.
Well, I think he knows he can get past the side, but the thing about this shot, really, I don't think the side pocket is the worry.
Please.
Just being elevated, and you have to shoot at a light speed. This makes it a very missable ball. Now he's looking at cutting it in the side.
Well, the epitome of the 50-yard line. He might pinch it back, too, going to the top right corner with that little pinch stroke that he likes.
He could let it out, come 3 rails around between the 8 and 9. Looks like he's following his ball. Big shot here. Oh, he hit it sweet.
Boy, he really did. That's the center of the hole, jacked up, down 2-0.
U.S. Open final as well.
U.S. Open finals. Lovely little shot there.
Can't really do a whole lot to get closer to the 8, it appears. Okay, that's what I meant earlier about he really likes to be above the ball, which is the smart way to play the game. But a lot of people would have settled there for the distance, but a little comfort here early, huh?
I would dare to say most would have settled.
One thing about this young 25-year-old, commitment is definitely involved in every swing of the cue.
Carlo Biado hooked himself with a positional shot. The jump shot didn't work, and because of that, Yapp bites back. On the Jersey Shore, this is the reality of top-level sport. It's the final, the crunch match. Over 500 matches here in 6 days, but no one is more important than this.
Yapp electing to go to the other side of the table, and Biado's been breaking from. He's had a tremendous amount of success throughout the week, breaking the balls. Corner ball does not oblige, nor does the one, but the purple 5 has found a home in the middle side pocket. He will have some kind of a look. Does the bank go, Jeremy?
Yeah, it definitely plays. And he had a bank shot. I believe it was a bank shot in his last match that opened. Maybe it was a jump shot. There was something that he had an option to play safe, and he elected to go a little offensive. I think here he's going to lean towards the safety. He's close enough to the 1. I wonder if he can hold the 1 behind the 8 and bring the cue ball near the pink, maybe. Kind of drawing it down there a little bit. I don't really see a nice path to try and get behind the 3-7 with the cue ball.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky in regards to cue ball placement, but it looks like
I think he can do with the shot I'm talking about. Contain the 1 across to the middle of the in rail, maybe. Bring the cue ball by the pink 4.
Yeah, nice call, JJ, and he's done very well with it. Snookering Biado behind the green 6 ball. Perhaps he has a sliver. Looking at it now.
That's tough, it looks like to me. And I'll tell you, with the 9 ball being there, this isn't the easiest of kick shots.
I assume tying up the 7-3 is just too conservative, right?
Not necessarily, with the 2 being so far away. Not easy to break them out. Ooh, look at there.
What a shot that was. Just nicking the one and returning the favor to Yapp. Gorgeous there.
Now, big decision for Aloysius. What do you do? Where do you go? You're 9 feet away. Very off angle to move the cue ball easily.
Is it too awkward to kick behind the one?
It's not terrible. In fact, you got to put a lot of spin and you got to hit it kind of light so the spin takes.
Extension, please.
Or else you probably give up a shot. But would he come off his right side of the one and run the cue ball some 1, 2, 3 rails behind the green back by the pink again? Possibly.
Yapp has shown such tremendous strategic play throughout the event in regards to the safety, kicking battles, the cat and mouse.
Well, and I think him coming from Vegas really helped with not only some competition, but the shot clock part of the game as well.
Absolutely. He does go for the kick safety, and he's done very nicely with it, Jeremy.
Yeah, and you can learn something there. You notice he didn't cream the ball and the one got all the way down. That bounce effect coming in from behind off the rail really puts a lot of movement into the one.
It's incredible how easy he hits the balls and what a strong reaction he gets. Biado perhaps using the brown 7.
I don't know what he's doing here.
I think he's trying to drift behind the 7.
That looks like the shot. Yeah, both these guys have gotten much more comfortable, it seems.
Yeah, it's as if both of these guys are trying to win a U.S. Open title.
Yeah, but these are touchy shots. I mean, almost easier when the nerves are high to let your stroke out, pocketing balls and moving the cue ball. These delicate ones from 8, 9 feet away with side spin.
Oh, absolutely. Mind the clock, by the way. Yapp has already used his extension. Has about 10 seconds.
Yeah, those types of shots will expose the nerves, I think, a lot more often than just pocketing a ball. He's going to need a little help. Is the 2 ball going to give him a little cover? Now, I don't think Carlo backs off this combo myself anyways. It's a pretty decent sized pocket coming from that, what will be a pretty light speed for the combination. And not only that, our semifinal showed that Carlo doesn't back off much.
Very aggressive player. These are indeed treacherous. Looks like he's taking it on, unless, of course, he can squeeze it by the 2. Has that beep in the backswing. He didn't back off of it, Jeremy, like you said, and he struck it beautifully.
Jeremy, so often when you get into a kick fest with a Filipino, you're going to be kicked in a different sense.
Well, to their credit and to their demise, they've kind of taught the world, the pool world, the last 30 years, what the proper side to kick at is, and, speed, control, and all that, to where really the rest of the world in that regard, I wouldn't say is totally caught up, but it's getting closer.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing I see from Carlo is not really too many of those quick strokes. We had one on that draw stroke earlier, but everything else has seemed pretty settled.
Yeah, he looks like he's where he's supposed to be.
I wouldn't move it too much. 6 on the side.
Yeah, nice call, Jeremy.
Well, you can see 4 of them right there that are not only sweating the action. Darren is the only one that really knows about winning that U.S. Open title. He's done it twice.
And a formidable showing here this year where he was quite deep. He'll bring this one back, try to get off the rail, leave himself a comfortable kind of angle.
Yeah, just a 1 rail towards the 9. Albin Ocean, 2 times world 9-ball champion. This title has eluded him somehow through the years.
Well, he's young. Another phenomenal talent.
Yeah, actually reigning world 9-ball champion.
Nice confident stroke there.
Yeah, he looks
a little short of the mark, though.
He still looks good, though. That's where you play it, though, Nick. You know, you were a pool player at one time. You stay above that 9 because falling behind the ball, the shot becomes way tougher.
Lesser of two evils of sorts.
Right.
And it's down.
And Carlo Biado is back in front by a couple of racks, this time at 3-1. It was appropriate we saw a glimpse there of Darren Appleton, because he's on a list that might be added to later on this evening. He's one of 9 players, fellows, who has won the US Open and the World 9-Ball Championship. Carlo Biado is trying to become the 10th, and what a list it is, that US Open and World double who've completed it. Earl Strickland, Nick Varner, Efren Reyes, Johnny Archer, Ralph Souquet, Alex Pagulayan, Mika Immonen, Darren Appleton and Joshua Fuller. And there is Dazzler himself.
Yeah, some feet got to watch those matches when Darren won. If I remember correctly, one time over Corey Deuel, was it, that made it to a final against him? If I remember correctly, that was the extended race they played. May have been won by 2 that year in a race to like 13 or 15, I believe.
Yeah, well, he not only won the title, but he successfully defended it, Appleton. You're right, in 2010 he overcame Jewell, and then he beat Sean Putnam in 2011.
Yeah. Well, is there any credit for finish second in the U.S. Open and the World Championships in the same year? That would be me. Which was a crushing year, by the way.
Man, second is a complicated emotional proposition.
Score is 3-1.
Yeah, and in our sport,
favor of Mr.
for some
Biado.
reason, so more than others,
Mr. Biado to break.
the winner is the one remembered, and deservedly so. Deservedly so.
Well, the one ball finds a home in the side. The corner ball just hung up, which might aid this position where a 2-8 combination seems to be. Mr. Biado will be playing soon.
I think he'll take this on. He's not going to back off. I think he's feeling pretty good. Now, it shouldn't be anything but straight high ball here, so watch out for the green 6. See how that comes into play. I don't think he'll try to put much side spin on this tough 2 ball. Oh, I didn't see the 8 was hanging. That changed everything. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
It was so deep in the pocket, and being the corner ball, it kind of was tracking. But it did just hang up, and this one's awfully thin, Jeremy.
Yeah, he's right-handed, though. You got to believe he's going to go.
Can he hold it 2 rails to the center, or does he need to come all the way around?
He may just take a chance to try and go behind the 7 and then back around by the pink and up towards the 3 ball. Is he using the 7 to slow the cue ball down? No, he went behind it. Watch outside pocket. Well, thankful for him he wasn't a little closer and he hung that 2 ball.
Generally in the back of players' minds when they have a situation like that, they tend to overcut it as far as the miss to leave a return safety of sorts like we're seeing here. Yapp's weighing his options.
Please.
Does anything speak to you, Jeremy?
He's got plenty of different options. He can slide across it heavy and come to this side of the 9. He can long rail bank this ball, which I'm not in love with. I like the safety here, I believe, anyways. Looks like he may be playing the bank. Wow. He hit it sweet.
Well, indeed, he played it. And what a shot it was.
And that's the atypical kind of shot that really tells me about our game as a sport, you know. Day in, day out, you may say safety, but we're here in the finals, and his gut instinct said, I need to bank at this one.
And that's one of the many things I love about watching Yapp play. Fell a bit steep here. He's not scared to get in there and maneuver around, but then he'll let the firepower out and go for it. This is tricky here. You have to hit this well.
When nerves are high, you have a tendency to overcut this ball. I like his chances, though, just back and forth with the cue ball. Slid it in. you know, these guys have played so well. The mentality may have been on that bank is, hey, if I get this down and get out, I can put some racks together, versus playing the safety and letting Carlo kick out of it.
It's really a great point. It's not just this one game in isolation. It's exactly what Jeremy just said. Have to pull this back slightly. Hits that shot so nicely, Yapp.
Oh, you know something about them lefties.
In any cue sport, you can't beat a sound technical base. And that's what Yapp has got. And he's also got rack 5. Biado overcut what was a ticklish 2-ball. And the length of the table double from Yapp opened up everything. Just one in it now. Biado slightly in the ascendancy. Well, a good final brewing here. It really is. I personally made Yapp favourite before the start, purely and simply because of his firepower. He's been running a lot more racks than Biado, and consequently I thought if he does get into a groove, he might win it relatively easily. This is the recent Roll of Honour in the US Open. The last time it was played, of course, was at the Mandalay Bay Resort in Las Vegas in 2019. The 2020 version sadly succumbed to the COVID-19 pandemic. The defending champion was Joshua Filler, but he was beaten by Aloysius Yapp. Some great players on that list. None more so than Shane Van Boening, another victim of Yapp. Van Boening has won a record equaling 5 US Open titles, in his case in the space of 9 years. The other player to win 5 US Opens, of course, the great Earl Strickland.
Rack number 6. Our current score is 3-2 in favor of Mr. Biado. Mr. Yapp to break.
Well, he's switching sides now, Jeremy, so it's interesting to see both players kind of experimenting early in the match.
Well, that corner ball being missed in his first break has everything to do with that. And I saw Yapp practicing from this other rail on the practice table, so he's seen the results that Carlo had, right? So not so hard to make a change. Ooh, does the one still open up? I think it does. Maybe even has to play it off a ticklish sliver of the 6 ball, maybe, Nick?
I think it goes in clean from our vantage point. It looks close.
Yeah.
I think it's just half a pocket into a 4 1/4 inch pocket is not much at all. You have to hit this essentially perfectly.
Now, does he hit this lightly? Maybe an element of safety if he misses, or does he just go ahead and cannon into the 7? Trying to move. Oh, he could hold it. Oh, sweet stroke there. And you can see it's not about long shots in this rack. All the ball's pretty near. And you talked about earlier in the week, his cue ball when there was some congestion was so nice.
Yeah, he just navigates these kinds of positions seemingly effortlessly. And that's a combination of both execution and just seeing the patterns.
Extension, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about it with people all the time, you know. When that's spending the time at the table, you really get a gut instinct of not only what's going to happen, but what you should make happen.
Extension used, but he still has to beat the clock here. He's okay, but he doesn't seem to love anything, so he'll have to kind of settle.
Sometimes you get in spaces that don't come up all the time, you know. So main thing for me is keep the cue ball off the rail. I think as long as he's off the rail, he'll be able to recover. Well,
that
you don't.
Is so
there is
sweet there.
There's no recovery from there. That's just perfect. Now again, it's a good thing about a young man like Aloysius is doesn't really take much for granted.
No, he may actually follow up here above the 9, although being a southpaw, looks like he is drawing back.
Yeah, again, just stay off the rail. He'll stay nice and heavy and make a decision from here. Most would just draw between the 7-8. The thing on this is if you catch it a little thick to the pocket, you could draw into the 8 and kind of hold the cue ball on top of the 7. So, oh, nice shot, smart shot.
As you alluded to before, Jeremy, when Aloysius took that bank on, you said it's not maybe just about this rack, but he knows if that goes down, he could string a few together. Certainly adding one more to the scoreboard momentarily.
Here's that same shot. Oh, he went back and forth, so.
Lovely.
And, you know, the players really see exactly what those little angles are telling them. Doesn't usually slow roll these. Little authority, you know, like that.
Yeah, punches the 9-ball in, and that was another counter punch from the Singaporean. Remember, Carlo Biado led 3-1, but that lead has now been entirely erased. The Barry Berman Trophy is the ultimate prize for the two fellows out there battling for the US Open Pool Championship. Not to mention a first prize of $50,000 US dollars.
Tied up at 3 games apiece. Mr. Yapp to break.
You always want a cracking week like this to end with a memorable final, and right now that looks on the cards.
Well, it doesn't get any closer than this, Phil. 3-3. 7-ball found a home for Yapp last time. The 1 oddly stayed down table.
Yeah, he still managed the out. Clean cue ball. I've got a feeling he can put a few together if he gets a shot after the break. Uh-oh, the 1 is agreeing. Here's those 2 balls again, just kind of lingering down there, but the cue ball came clean, and so did Aloysius Yapp.
Yeah, he really does have a fantastic break. He consistently handles his work just kind of effortlessly looking. He doesn't hit him too soft, but it's an effortless sort of break.
And drawing the cue ball for the 2 in the same pocket. Ooh, caught a little piece of the 3. Still, he's good. On the 4, it may go in between the 6 and 5 all the way down. We'll see.
If he feels exceedingly comfortable, he could bump it out a little towards the center of the table off the rail, though that's not really his style.
No, but if it lays there, it's okay. The guys avoid moving balls, but sometimes it makes sense, and usually what this young man does certainly makes sense. I like to reposition the cue ball kind of where it's at now, or similar. Probably stays a little more towards the center of the table just because he doesn't want to risk anything. There's no need to. Oh, he overcut it a little bit, so the cue ball's going to have a little more speed. And now he's kind of going away from the purple a little bit, so.
Might have to settle to play the 6 of the town in the same pocket as the 4.
Yeah, this is that light draw stroke holding the ball. I think he can come out because you can certainly handle angle on the 6 to move the cue ball to the 8. Even if you go to the wrong side of the table initially, it's all right.
Nicely struck there.
He is just so efficient. And when he gets on one of these run-outs, it's a real shock to the system if he doesn't do it.
Yeah, he can come with the shot, makes very mindful shots. But also, it seems like once he gets that first one in line with the cue ball, he really doesn't lose track of it very much afterwards.
Yeah, 9 ball down. It's a reverse compounding of sorts. He just gets more and more in line as the rack goes on.
Now, in the semi-final, the first time he was in front, Aloysius Yapp was at 6-5 against Denis Akolio. He hits the front a little earlier here at 4-3. That's his first lead. Undefeated thus far. The closest he came to defeat was in his third match against Wojciech Szewczyk of Poland. He was nicely in front. Szewczyk fought back. But in the heat of the decider, the coolest player was Yapp. Then he beat Joshua Filler, the defending champion. Mickey Krause he overcame comfortably. That was on the main match table. As of course were his next 3 matches also. Beating Shane Van Boning 11-5. The story of that, he broke and ran no less than 8 times. Rodrigo Geronimo and then Denis Akolio, 2 Filipinos, succumbed 11-6 following.
Yeah, trying to make it 3 Filipinos in a row and out to win this U.S. Open title. And it may be a while, if, you know, the pool gods shine on him for shots after the break, maybe a while before we see Carlo back at the table.
Well, here's one for you. Total racks won and lost for Yapp. Now it's 88 racks won in the tournament, 43 lost, so over a 66% strike rate.
Mr. Yapp to break.
Well, that's the way to do it. And you're right, Jeremy. I wouldn't bet against him making the deuce in the bottom left and having a shot at the 1 in the top right. May even track towards the opposite side of the table from which he's breaking with the cue ball. Try to get a look at the 1 right about where he is now. 2 obliges. The 1 coming around 3 rails this time gets kicked.
Yeah, it was going to be in a similar position, actually probably a little better position than it is now, but he isn't going to want to do it over. He's got to make a touchy shot here on the 1, whether he goes into the 3 with the cue ball. I don't know if he can draw to the rail because of the pink 4.
It looks steep, but he has that little pinch stroke that he loves where maybe he can kind of just slide on over there into the red and manufacture a shot.
Yeah. You know, the good thing for him is the pink is near. So if he happened to make them both, if he went into the red 3 ball, he should be okay. He's sizing it up now.
extension-worthy situation.
Yeah, he can't quite drag the cue ball in with a lot of left, can he, Nick? And maybe hit the one a little heavier.
Well, he's fooled me so many times with that kind of stroke. It looks like he is going low with left.
I think he's drawing it. Maybe into the 3. Watch out, corner pocket. Watch out, corner pocket. Oh, wow, what a stroke. But even there, he wasn't 100% on what was going to happen, right? But you could see the emphasis on ball pocketing. He knows where to apply the, what's most needed, I guess.
Yeah, it's a great point. Sometimes you have to take a chance in regards to the cue ball, but naturally make sure you put the object ball down. Did so beautifully, and he's off to the races once again.
Yeah, and another good thing is, like right there, he would have loved a couple more inches out of the cue ball, it being the U.S. Open final, but he's not going to let anything disturb him.
No, and we can still harken back to that bank shot on the 2 that started this whole run. Little funny here. Has to pull it back and elevated, no less. Might need to grab the extension, perhaps the bridge.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how much angle. I think he has a slight angle. Now, when you're stretched, that's when you do lose a little bit of natural power. So that may be when you try to get into the cue ball a little more than normal.
Extension, please.
Oh, smart decision there. He knew the beeps were coming.
Yeah, this is touchy. He's making sure that tip is chalked up well. I noticed that he was using the tip tool in between the rack, which helps keep the chalk on the tip, scruffing it up a bit. He elected to follow it out, and he's fallen steep, but as usual on the right side of things.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you're stretched. You're just not in your normal form, so you just don't get quite as much power. It's one time you could say to yourself, let me put a little extra on it.
Yeah, when you're stretching, there's a tendency to just hit down into the cue ball slightly as well, and that's why the follow-through wasn't quite where he wanted it to be.
Indeed, note the pot success thus far for Yapp, 100%, remains perfect, and what a lovely little recovery shot that was there, Jeremy.
Yeah, and the resolve from this young man, I just can't say it enough. And I'll tell you what, it's been pretty convincing with the object ball going in the pocket. There really hasn't been many doubts at all, right?
No, absolutely clean. No, just as we say that, he does. Oh, my. Oh,
okay. So you'll get a little bit of emotion there. He knows he's used his extension, though, so he's got to get on with it. Whew. He's a funny young man, that's for sure. Been to dinner with him a few times and got to hang out with a mutual friend, and he's a lot of fun. All business at the moment, but knows he got away with one there.
Yeah.
Ah, sweet that stroke.
He's got such an expressive face, hasn't he? Great camera work as well, by the way, on that 7 going in. Just toppling into the pocket. But the next 2 balls didn't topple. They went in with authority. And right now, playing with authority in general is Aloysius Yapp. He was 3-1 down, but he's turned things around and he leads 5-3. Taking on water, Jeremy, the mouth does tend to become a little dry, doesn't it? I think it was dry when he was playing that 7 ball, but he just found gravity.
Well, just like us, he wasn't totally convinced when the cue ball left his cue stick going at that brown 7, but like most things this week, it worked out for Yapp, and I'll tell you, I think he's going to continue this run. You know, we're going to get another chance to look at Carlo, but no telling what the scoreline will be, Phil.
Full house here, great event. Just gives me the opportunity to thank Matchroom Multisport, who've done a wonderful job. Logistically, they had to clear so many hurdles, but Emily Fraser, Phoebe Millam, Jake Aspey, Nick Teal, and Matt Lynch. Shout out to you guys. They've worked so hard. I can't tell you.
You know, the team is phenomenal. It's just abundantly clear how hard they all work and how sharp
Number 9.
they all
Our
are.
current score is 5-3 in favor of
Yeah,
Mr.
and with
Yapp.
a huge announcement this week
Mr.
of the
Yapp.
UK Open, basically a carbon copy of the US Open. It's 256 players. I'm sure the purses will enlarge as the
So sweet.
calendar goes, but
As you said, Double J, wouldn't bet against him here.
no. It's all about that title, and of course there's a $50,000 bonus that goes along with it. Oh, here we may get our first look at Carlo, and I'll tell you, we'll see if Yapp elects to go to the air, which he did in his semifinal when faced in a similar situation. I think the heat's on Carlo. I think you have to roll out here.
He may just tap the cue ball and leave it there.
True.
Push out called.
Good call here. And the thing here, you don't want to offer like super easy position on the one, from the 1 to the 2. And he made it a little easier, the position, but Carlo, who's been 0 for 2 in his last jumps.
Restart the clock to 30, please.
Okay. Aloysius Yapp. He got back what he wanted, right? I mean, he wanted it back, you would think.
An offensive try.
Yeah. Cue ball's definitely going to be in the air and be going down table towards the 9, you would think. But if he pockets the 1, he's got to be happy with that.
He's been incredibly adept with this cue.
He's going to need a roll here.
And he did get one, Jeremy.
Wow.
The 1 and the cue ball freeze on top of each other.
Yeah, our camera didn't see Carlo look to the gods there, but eerily similar to his semifinal match, right? Just got to take it. That's part of it. He's got to push to 1 a little bit and try and dig on the cue ball and get it over to the side rail behind the 3 or behind the 9, something like that. So he should elevate a little bit here.
Extension, please.
Oh, he's looking to run the cue ball. You know, this is very touchy. If he doesn't get the snooker here, he may give up a cross side, but definitely gives up his position. Touchy business. Oh, it's going to come short. Oh, it may come perfect. Wow, great shot.
Oh, what a shot from Carlo Biado. Snookering Aloysius Yapp behind that lone 9 ball. That is incredibly difficult.
Now, he's got a kick underneath this. If he goes long ways, I think he's giving up a chance to not hit this ball if he's trying to contact 2 rails.
Extension, please.
With the 3 the way it is, I got to take the guaranteed hit here, Nick, and come to the bottom rail where he's standing. I understand what he's thinking.
Well, I think most of us watching would concur, Jeremy.
I think he's making this a missable kick now. We'll see. Oh, he's hit it nice. He's hit it nice. Not sure what he was too upset about. I thought it came out exactly what he was thinking. But you notice he had to apply side spin, then dodge the side pocket. A lot going on with that kick shot.
Indeed. Tricky little one here. I presume Carlo's trying to cut this in the middle side pocket.
Yeah, if he comes back up above the 2, he could get a nice angle to crash into the 8-3. Oh, no, he's playing the safety.
Okay. May have left a cross side of sorts, or perhaps Yapp can reposition him behind the 3 and the 8.
I think he's dead snookered. I think. Maybe he has a slim piece of the 1, but I thought Carlo had gotten the cue ball down past the 2 enough there, but that camera angle tells me he does have a little piece.
Maybe a little piece to try to...
Oh, he's curving it.
Oh, you're right, Jeremy. So
watch out for the point. If he hits it full, though, he's going down by the 3 with the cue ball. Like that. Oh, wow, what a shot.
Oh, my goodness.
What a shot.
It's just marvelous. He even broke the 3 out for dessert.
Well, that was maybe a little, unintentional, but, that's all feel, but that was entirely the plan. Come across it and slide the cue ball safe.
When you get into the safety bear pit with the Filipinos, better bring some armory.
Well, they're playing the game, Jeremy.
Yeah, and that's why the tighter pockets, the wooden rack, matchroom pool, they really understand. It's about keeping the integrity in the game. That way we see all the game.
And You know, it's so true. These last few matches have been such a showcase of the little defensive battles and so on. He's going high.
Yeah, doesn't have a pocket for the one. Oh, he caught the 5 coming out. If this ball ties up right here, it didn't. So.
Well, the bear pit, Phil, as you said, and once again, it's produced another victim. Biado beats Yapp to the shot, so to speak, in a hard-fought safety battle.
Now, is this one, even with ball in hand, a little funny to get to the 2 because of the 8 ball? I mean, does he have to draw straight out?
Oh, he's shown such a propensity for that draw stroke, as you mentioned, Jeremy. But yes, it is a little funny, of course.
Man,
and he's overcooked the mark.
Yeah, by some piece, too. Now, very funny. Not only funny, it's just funny to play safe as well.
Because of the 7, he can't just roll the
forward,
2 to the
right?
rail and put him on the 3.
Well, he's winding up like he's considering chopping this ball in and going in. Maybe, does he go by the 3 into the purple? Is that what's going on here?
I don't know. This is just... Okay, he does just play safe, and that's a nice non-compounding of errors. He fell funny, and sometimes it's easy to try to make up for it with some dynamite shot after you've had ball in hand, but he does just play safe, and he'll move on from there. Yapp certainly has making this on his mind.
Yeah, and this is another one of those kick shots at the pro level. When they hit it, they make it about 3 out of 10. Oh, he's coming down on it. I'm surprised he's not hitting it with a high ball. Wow, look at this cross corner.
Well, unfortunately, the 3 does not cooperate, and nor does the 2.
Oh, the diamond table, the deep slates along with the 4 1/4-inch pockets. You're getting to see that here today, the final day of the U.S. Open. And perfect speed there, setting up for the safety. You want to separate this 3 in cue ball, though. You don't want to leave an easy kick.
And he's done well. Frozen on the 5 would be slightly better, perhaps eliminating that side rail on the same side of the cue ball. Not sure if he can twist around the 5 or if he has to manufacture a kick another way.
I thought for sure he could go by the 5 the same path that Carlo took the 3, but watch out for the scratch in the side. Oof.
Okay.
Great hit. All you could do. And that hit is important considering the 5 and 6 is a little funny. He may end up having to try and settle for a cross-side bank here on the purple. I mean, that's kind of where it tells me the cue ball wants to go.
Indeed, it's funny.
That's what he wants. He's just a good foot shy or so with the cue ball. You saw the point of the cue, and now I'm not sure he can even go offensive.
Could he play the 4 and the 6?
Yeah. Bit dangerous. Is he playing this combo? Are you kidding me?
He's looking at it, Jeremy. He's airing out
he's
right
shooting
now.
it. That's for sure.
Slightly off the rail, which...
Similar to the 2-ball bank that Aloysius buried. Maybe he feels like he can run some racks. Not going to get it. He's going to give up a cupcake of an out to maybe a 3-game lead for Yapp.
Don't know your assessment, but that seemed to me to be extremely risky.
Well, I think he was an underdog, but, it may have been a bit of frustration falling well short for the bank shot. And, sometimes when someone kicks out of a few safeties, Phil, you can start to lean towards maybe taking on a bit of a rough decision offensively. But don't you feel like Yapp's going to put 2 or 3 more together after this win? I kind of do.
Hard not to, the way he's been going about his business. Put 6 together on Shane, put 7 together on Joshua Filler on an outer table. Filler remarked after the match that he was something of a mere spectator.
Yeah, well, so far in this match, he's gotten snookered off the break once, and it felt unlucky, right? So it's almost got to be unlucky again.
No, the break is spooky indeed. 9-ball down, 6-3 lead.
Yeah, Yapp doubling up on Biado now at 6-3. Almost halfway to the ultimate goal at the US Open. What a final we are privileged to witness here at the Harrah's Resort in Atlantic City.
Our current score is 6-3 in favor of Mr. Yapp. Mr. Yapp to break.
Is the city-state of Singapore in Southeast Asia about to celebrate a major sporting achievement brought to them by Aloysius Yapp. He's going nicely.
Well, a ways to go. Race to 13 here in the finals, as opposed to 11, which it was in the semis and the quarters. Corner ball goes in, as does the pink in the side.
I think he has a cross corner maybe on the one.
Well, some solace for Biado. The red 3 has impeded a shot into the top right-hand corner, we believe.
Definitely has a safety. I think he can get at the one to maybe bang it around the table. A lot of guys go cross corner here, but don't be fooled. He can't afford to give Carlo even an open look at a safety. You know what I mean? So, no. I believe Yapp was down 3-0, right? He's reeled off 6 in a row. Is that right?
3-1 it was.
3-1, okay. It needs the 1 to travel or a kiss on the cue ball like that, and I don't think either got there. Oh, it did. Little raise of the hand.
Signifying an apology of sorts, typical in pool. When players feel they got a little lucky, they acknowledge their opponent at this level. Looks like the jump cue, Jeremy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what's happened a couple times for him. He's got to realize the ball cuts a little easier when it's bouncing.
Attention, please.
It lands on top of the ball a little bit, so you can aim a little thicker. He's overcut a couple. Long distance here, though. Yeah. I hit that one thick. 9 ball. He's going to escape an offensive shot, I think, anyways. Probably puts him behind the 2 and 9 right here, Nick.
Yeah, that or the 7, provided that he has a just natural kind of angle. If he could freeze him on the 7 and maybe even use the purple 4 to proclivity kick, that would be a very nice option.
I think the 9-2 is too big not to go behind, though.
Oh, that was a little bit of a skid.
Yeah.
You were right, Jeremy. That's indeed what he played.
Yeah. Kind of kicked on him a little bit, made the cue ball take a different route. It's got him in the trees, though. Kind of elevated over the 2 and the 9.
Does he try to slow roll to the rail and freeze him on the 3? So touchy elevated. You better get there if you go for that shot.
Yeah, I hate to leave an open 1 ball, but it may be more like maybe, I don't know.
He does have the field goal of sorts to aid bridging. And he is going for it.
Oh, nice shot.
And is it leaking out on him?
Yeah, but I don't think it's makeable.
A round of applause would support that notion.
He's going to the chair. Uh-oh.
The jump bridge again, perhaps?
Well, he's lefty, but I still don't think he can reach it, even though he's lefty. And aim as well. I don't think so, anyways.
Extension, please.
It doesn't mind it.
For those that didn't see, Aloysius did go for a jump shot with the bridge in his last match, which is awfully rare. He is having a go at this, Jeremy.
Well, I'm not really sure how he can aim so well. Wow. Watch out, cue ball. It's going to keep going, and it may have corner hooked him. It's close, so we're going to see a big swerve shot here. Maybe he can get at it.
He still has the jump cue in his hands, and note that he used his extension last shot.
Yeah, I'm surprised if he would jump this instead of swerve it.
It was, of course, lovely. And he is jumping just over the point.
Yeah, easy to curve this cue ball accidentally. Uh-oh. And behind the purple 5 with the cue ball.
Carlo once again looks towards the gods.
You have to say, what run is going, the majority of it is going in the direction of Yapp.
Like here, Jeremy.
Well, I kind of like 2 rails behind it. Trying to knock it up table and using the purple.
I think that's what he's doing. Maybe 1 rail trying to nestle him on the 7.
Yeah, that angle doesn't look proper to me. Yeah.
Well,
containing shot, right?
Right.
That was totally intended. He knew it wasn't going to be anything special. But I tell you, you know, I don't recall. Of course, you got to get a few rolls here and there, but it wasn't a whole lot of rolls that got Yapp to this final. It was an incredible amount of playing, and wow, look at that. Trying to cut off the kick.
He's special. I mean, he really is a special young player.
Can he kick 4 rails here? He's going to try and come between the 4-7, tight between the 4-6, back between the 4-6 to the 4th rail and lay on the 2 ball.
Oh, good call, Jeremy. And has he just gotten there? Watch the rail.
No rail. Foul.
What an effort, though.
Fantastic try.
Start the clock, please.
Well, those who booed, did they boo the rules? Did they boo the referee? Both were adhered to perfectly. No rail hit. It was cruel. It was cruel. But they are the rules.
That they are.
To be really effective here, he's got to try and travel behind the 9, I think. Now he can play the mild one, but he knows that Carl just soft kick onto this 2 ball, so he needs to try and travel this direction. Now I'm wondering how Carlo's going to play this. I mean,
go 1-2 and just try to nick the 2 and go up table. It's so touchy.
He might make this 2 off the rail off the 7 if he kicks with some speed like this. Oh, he missed the whole ball, so he's on 2 fouls, even though I don't think we're going to see Yapp entertain a 3 foul situation.
You do rarely see 3 fouls at this level.
Clock, please.
And naturally the run out looks awfully enticing for.
Now he could play the 2 on the short side and not really worry about the 7 too much. He's just going to, I think, pull the ball out with a draw stroke. Nice, the 3 got kicked up there on that foul in front of the side pocket. So really nice cue action. Gets the most out of everything, doesn't he, Phil? Seems like when he strikes the cue ball.
And that's the great thing. We've said he's had a little bit of good fortune in this match so far, but the key to it is when you get it, make the most of it. And when it comes to how he technically approaches the game, how can you fault him?
Yeah, well, not clear in this rack yet. Want to get above that purple 5 ball to come down the good side for the 6. The 6 doesn't pass the 9, so now it's going to be the draw stroke. He could really let it out, come 3 rails around the 6. I think he probably stays underneath it. Yeah, that's a nice line he's got there. Anything other than straight in the side, he should be okay.
Gorgeous stroke, still awkward. These side pockets are so small, so if he elects to force his ball down table, he'll need an accurate strike.
Yeah, he may be going short side here.
Oh, he is going short side, Jeremy.
Well,
keeps it so clean out there.
Well, that's a smart young man. I mean, when you talked about the side pocket, and you know, most of us know that if you can shoot the shot where it wants to go naturally, well, ball pocketing percentages go way up.
Well, he's certainly shown up thus far in his first U.S. Open finals, perhaps the first of many.
Last weekend in the US Open, or the World 10-Ball Championship, I should say, in the semi-finals, in his match against Eklund Kachi, there was a violent thunderstorm in Las Vegas, knocked the power out. There was a 2-hour suspension in play. Right now, he's playing the lights out, looking really good. And the last 2 racks weren't typical Yapp racks, were they? They were both dogfights, both tactical, and yet he's won them both.
Well, he's shown us the absolute full arsenal down here on the boardwalk in this U.S. Open finals and really throughout. I mean, Jeremy, he just has it all, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he has it all, and he has the mindset to look to improve. Preparation is, you know, he's got all bases covered. He's got a good team. He's got a great support. He arrived to Vegas earlier than any other player, 2 weeks early to Vegas. Knows he's staying here in the States until after the International, which is at the end of October. Another big, great event. That's all you're going to see all these players. But I'll tell you, no surprise to me. Of course, I've got to spend time with him back in Dallas and seen him play. But, you know, he reached the final 16, if I remember correctly, in our last U.S. Open. I don't think he made
Rack
he
number
may
11.
have made the
Our
quarterfinals
current
that
score
year
is
as well. I'm not
7-3
sure, but
in favor of Mr. Yapp.
the guy's here and he's for real.
Mr. Yapp to break.
Yeah, this is breakout pool from Yapp. Can he consolidate?
Eyes on the red and eyes on the yellow. It's great cue ball control after his break. Been so consistent.
He's actually applying some of that side spin as well, and I'll tell you, the 3 down and the 1 couldn't agree more. And, you know, with the wooden rack, with the template, that's where our game is going. Meaning mistakes aren't going to cost you a game. They're costing you several games, and they're going to cost you matches. This is what's gonna
Absolutely.
happen.
Just pulls this one back for the 2 on the side, Jeremy? Or?
I think so. He just wants to overrun before he underruns. And just fine. He'll come forward off the 2 to that unique shot we talked about so many times, where he pulls it back so nice and mildly off the pink back towards where the 2's at now for the purple, and gets on out again.
Often gives us an idea of where he'd like the cue ball. Will at times just tap his tip on the table to sort of remind himself almost. Could come 3 rails around or just pinch it out to center table. Appears to be the latter based on how he's cueing.
Yeah, and he does it with an open bridge too from a little distance, which is totally a mark of today's players. Much more open bridges than you saw years ago. But the thing I like about him is, you know, it's similar to Federer. You know, their process is their routine. You know, the steps they need to go through before they shoot the shot is what makes their routine. They don't really try to label it. They just do their little task, and then it kind of consumes them in the game.
And also his rhythm. He's just perfectly suited for that 30-second shot clock.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, he uses it, but he doesn't abuse it, right? Well, what I like, and being because I've done it, is like shots like that. Just that extra little authority on the ball. He's not trying to hope it in. He's not trying to make the pocket bigger by easing it down the rail. He's committing and shooting.
So true. He's the one in control. He doesn't allow
the moment, right?
The moment or anything to daunt him. And like you said, not a whole lot of hoping going on. 8-3, Phil. My.
Yeah. This gap is now getting into serious territory. A 5-rack lead. And although Carlo Biado is a former world 9-ball champion, he will be fully extended to turn this thing around now, especially when you consider just how well Yapp is playing. The man who's on the Sports Excellence Scholarship back in Singapore. And excellence really is an appropriate word. Will the name of Aloysius Yapp be engraved on that massive and so coveted trophy? Tell you what, in 1976, when this event was inaugurated, if you'd have told the guys involved then in the very first US Open that someone would come over from Singapore and win it, they wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah, they might not have, you know, believed the West Coast at that time, much less Singapore, but all the greats at that time, most of the greats from the Northeast, the big names.
Yeah, it looked like Mike LeBron was the first non-American
to take
it down.
And I believe still the
Mr. Yapp
oldest player to ever win it, Mike LeBron. Spanish Mike.
You're right about that. Mike Siegel, who won the first one, was a southpaw, much like young Aloysius Yapp.
And I'll tell you, reflecting on tournaments that I've won and I've watched get won, it seems like that, especially in the big events, seems like the person that wins is the guy that does put 4 or 5 racks together, 6 racks together in just about every match. And that's what we see Aloysius doing.
Indeed. Testy little 1-ball here, Jeremy.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see anything but the bottom of the net, though.
It is starting to feel that way.
He's sizing it up. He's got enough angle to move to the rail and back out to the middle. That's where he'd like to go. Nothing wrong with settling between the green and purple 5, but rather hit the pocket clean and, like I said, get all the way to the middle of the table with the cue ball. Oh, swish.
Well,
It's got to go. It's got to go. I don't know if he got there.
I believe he did not get there for a clean look. Bottom of the net, as you said, didn't even strike the rail, but is he ever so short? Looks like he is. Grabbing the jump cue. This is a touchy little shot. I want to just stop there, stun forward ever so slightly.
Well, the good thing for
Extension,
him, as far as holding the cue ball or holding position, of course, he's got to make the jump. It's only a piece of the 6 he's going over. So that lends towards hitting it a hair lighter, which will help hold the ball. Well, the 2, what's it going to do? Well, there Carlo's going to look to the pool gods again and say, what the heck is going on around here? I'm playing a guy that's not missing. When he finally snookers himself, he doesn't leave me much. We've been on both ends of this. We all have before. But, you know, you never get used to it. Let's say that.
Suppose not. At the same time, Carlo has faded all of this and finds himself here in the U.S. Open Finals. If he can wedge him behind the red 3 or some other safety kind of maneuver, he can get right back in this thing.
I'm not sure what he has. He may have to overcut the, I don't know what he has. Overcut the 2 and run the cue ball, maybe? That's what I see, maybe. Yeah, like that. Oh, he was going for the make. That may be a little of frustration.
I think a little frustration and just a little sense of urgency that he just needs to not let this kid back at the table whatsoever. And perhaps it was a slight over aggression, but
yeah.
But like you said, though, safety was far from clear cut.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say. There was nothing easy on the safety side of things, and same thing here, it looks like to me. Touchy shot. He's got to have good speed. He didn't get the snooker.
And having not had a great amount of quality table time of late, what an examination this is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I do here. I mean, there are options for sure, but which option? Is he coming off the left side of the 2, running the cue ball back behind the pink? Is he banking the 2 at the 3, maybe? Oh, he's cutting it. Well, he's going to get a little fortunate, but I thought that was the most dangerous shot of all of them.
An examination, as Phil said.
Yeah, and I think that goes back towards what you said a moment ago, feeling like he needs to bury a shot.
Press the issue, turn the tide, so to speak.
Oh, Aloysius can get at this. He's got to put a little right spin on it to get around the pink, but I think it lays fairly natural. Look for him to bury this one, to be honest with you.
Oh, what a lovely little hitch in the stroke.
Yeah, didn't really get the shot on the 3 that he deserved.
No, he didn't
Center
seem deterred.
cut, though,
just
again, right?
truly. He didn't seem deterred when he eyed this one up. Perhaps he can just see that sliver or navigate this rail first.
Yeah, but I think I don't know if he can get around to the top side of the pink. Oh, he can get it. He's going to need a bump. And he got it. And I'll tell you what, we're looking at 9-3. And just like the last time we saw Carlo come to the table and lose a game, Aloysius put a few together right after.
And when the pink was bumped into ideal position, you might have seen Biado in the background shaking his head in disbelief. He is getting frustrated. Irritation is coursing through his body.
You know, Phil, I also saw Aloysius kind of give a little jolt with the cue, almost signifying to me that he played that, or at the very least had it in mind that he's coming into the pink flush, because he's a pretty polite sort of kid. When he gets lucky, he kind of... Anyway.
Yeah, he's going to have a stretch here. I don't know if he'll really try to move the rock a whole lot. If he can reach it decently, he may stun 2 rails. I don't think it's top inside here. 3 rails a little flat for that angle.
He may just accept some meat on the bone.
That's what I thought. Oh, he did go top inside, and he's going to end up short.
Oh, he's fallen badly short here, Double J.
That angle to me was a little flat, especially being stretched.
Yeah, you called it beautifully. He went for the ambitious around the world route. Can he slice this, or is it?
Yeah, you don't want to bet against him here, but he does have a missable ball.
Indeed. Also, mind the side. Mind both sides, I suppose.
Yeah, the corner, 3 in the side. There's a bunch of scratch possibilities. Oh, he hit it thick. Well, now's the time, Carlo Biado.
Indeed it is. The crowd lets him hear it, Phil.
One of the turning points in his semi-final against Dennis Okoye was when Okoye into that same pocket undercut a 9-ball. That one hung in the jaws. This one didn't, but Biado should knock it in regardless. Have we just seen a pivotal moment there from the 8 to the 9? It looked as though Yapp was going to gain position. He didn't. Then he undercut the 9, and Carlo Biado has restored life. 8-4.
Rack number 13. Our current score is 8-4 in favor of Mr. Yapp. Mr. Biado to break.
Well, indeed he is. What a big break it is. If he could possibly string a few together, could have a nail biter. Corner ball obliges. One tracking. Looks like they're going to open
three
up.
ball. Oh my.
Yeah, I think we all feel it for him, having watched him play the last few matches. This one particularly cold. He controlled the break so nicely. Wing ball in. Might he be jumping straight away?
Man, he's got a long ways to go over the 3 to get it down for a cut shot on the 1. So I don't know about that. I don't know about the. Now, what's he trying to do here? Because he's not taking much time doing it.
Is he trying to make it like a two-way kind of shot?
Like a 3 cushion shot, right?
Yeah, that was a beauty, frankly.
Yeah, nice hit. You're gambling there, you know. You figure it not to hang from that angle, just in case it goes towards the pocket. You figure it to go in. And now he's left this pretty difficult here for Aloysius. Aloysius, I think, has just got a gamble here coming down the table. Pick your spot. Do you go behind the 10? Do you go behind the 6 with the cue ball? I don't like the easy side of things for some reason. Oh, that's a great touch.
That truly is.
It's just a hard shot to pull the trigger on. I know we were kind of wondering, or I was, the first shot he would have if it was anything kind of touchy or difficult after failing to get position on that 9, and he did miss it, but it was certainly a missable shot. Oh, creating a little distance. The 3 ball may come into play again.
Well, that was lovely navigations from Mr. Biado, and you know, they often do create their own luck by always striking the right side of the ball with the proper speed, a percentage game of sorts.
Yeah, knowing that, you know, there is that speed to kicking at the ball correctly. It seems like that you can't always predict if you're going to hit the good side, but the proper speed, you open up a lot of good possibilities. And man, what's he got here? A heavy curve shot? Is that what he was looking at? Because the kick to me with the 9 in the way and the way that where the 2 lays, not the easiest kick shot. Yeah, it looks like a big masse here. Watch out for the scratch in the what would be the lower right corner on your TV.
Watch out for the lower right corner. Great call, Jeremy. And he's done very nicely with this. Both of these guys.
Well, you know, it's beyond his years, because all those shots, of course, you say, well, why don't you just curve and kick behind it? Well, you got to, you know, route the ball with a heavy masse. The speed's got to be right.
You have to know the shot first to identify it, and then you have to understand the stroke, meaning that you've identified it in years past, played it, practiced it.
It's clear he can pot and gain position with the best of them. He runs racks like you wouldn't believe. But it's also clear he served his apprenticeship.
Are we looking at a 9 ball going towards the corner here? I think maybe. No, he's going to play the mild one. On perfect speed, it looks like.
Beautifully executed.
Wow, and these guys, you know, aren't just playing safeties, but look at the kick shots they're leaving. The 6 is in the way. He's got to come to the bottom cushion, a very funny way to kick at the ball. Unless he decides, I like this shot that he's looking at myself. He's thinking about kicking to the top rail way wide of the 6 and applying some left English.
This will be a pretty shot if he pulls it off.
Yeah, got to arc the cue ball a bit. Didn't get it.
And now all of the congestion on the table is pretty much resolved.
Start the clock, please.
Biado's come back. Might well continue. Should continue.
Yeah, should probably, I think, fall a little below the 2 here. He could stay above. It's kind of his choice. Yeah, a little below is what I saw. That way, when you shoot the 2, you're really going towards a very open part of the table. Very natural to drop for the pink in the side.
He just wants to fall nicely on this ball. Comes one rail and up. Looks like he's done very well with this.
He's not done anything easily from the word go in this tournament. He lost his 4th match, remember. 11-5 to David Al-Qaedi. Had some bad luck in that. Looked like winning the first rack. Scratched. Al-Qaedi went off into the distance, but he then dug deep, produced a succession of victories, and he's digging deep in this final 2.
A little off angle here. I don't think he can quite hold it. Maybe he can. Otherwise, he has to probably draw the cue ball. Maybe goes around it 2 or 3 rails for the 9 in the upper left-hand corner, like this.
Yeah, he did take that 3-rail route that you just mentioned, JJ. And Biado to break, trailing 8-5 is certainly a match. Race to 13 here in the finals. Slams it in.
Yeah, race to 13, and we've had 13 racks so far. And while you have to say, because of that 3-rack advantage, Yapp is the favourite, the stock of Carlo Biado has risen over the last 15 minutes or so. There's no doubt he was definitely becoming irritated by what he perceived to be an unkind run of the ball. But maybe Yapp's inability to gain position from 8 to 9 at the end of the 12th rack, maybe that is the tipping point.
Hey, now fans are feeling it. We're getting to that happy hour sort of time of the night. Great crowds here all week. Indeed, it could be the tipping point, Phil. This absolutely hangs in the balance, and maybe it's Biado's turn, Jeremy, to start manufacturing a shot off of the break. I mean, end of the day, he's gotten some unfortunate rolls, seemingly.
Yeah, and then, of course, Yapp has taken full advantage of that. He's just got to... I like the way he's breaking. He's breaking with the one more head-on, not bringing as much congestion, it seems like, near that one ball. So I think he sticks to that because the corner ball seems to be flying in with that break for both players, so you don't want to break dry with
Rack
something a
number
little
14.
lighter.
Our current score is 8-5 in favor of Mr. Yapp. Mr. Biado to break.
Well, mind the pink. Probably try to play the one ball from the corner, which he's breaking from. Pink down.
Not as much speed, so the one's going to get trapped on the end rail a bit. It is cuttable, though.
I'd have to try to travel between the 6 and the deuce and then out.
Yeah.
Treacherous little shot, perhaps impeded by the purple somewhat in regards to level queuing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. A lot going on with this shot. Not only that, he's got to pocket a tough shot. He's queuing a little funny over the purple 5, and then he's got to route the cue ball up and down. Hair of inside English. No, he hit it sweet. He's going to right between the 6
that's
and 9.
Outstanding there.
Aloysius in his chair just kind of buying his time.
Some traffic here between the 2 and the 3. Can he hold it?
Well, the thing is, Carlo doesn't mind kind of curving, making the cue ball warp a little bit with a top English stroke, kind of making an angle to go by the 6, and then between the 4-9 or the 5-9, some 3 rails.
Extension, please.
Actually does that very well. Coming backwards to me looks a little funny.
Can he just roll it in and drift beyond the 9 and accept the work?
Nah, he's going to go at it, like I said, with the top English. Watch the cue ball kind of arc between the 6-9, getting to that top rail like that.
Good call, JJ, and good execution from Mr. Biado.
Well, you know, the difference is a lot of guys, when the pressure's on, will stay away from trying to bend the cue ball at the most pressured moment of the year, the finals of the U.S. Open. But
down 8-5, no less. Where
yeah,
goes
not Carlo, though.
No.
We talked about it for years, you know. The player that can play like they would in their regular pool room or a much smaller event, you know, they have a huge advantage if they can carry that type of play and that kind of mojo into what would be the biggest and greatest event, in my opinion, in the world. And I think that's what is. Ooh, let one slip here. He's not going to like this overall.
Do you favor drawing to the rail and out, or
I
just
think he's gonna
draw and lay on the rail?
I think he's gonna. You know, that's a funny shot on the 7, laying on the rail. You can lay in a lot of funny places. I think he's trying to get to the center of the table. Remember that draw stroke he relies on.
Oh, Carlo.
Yeah, 9 ball. 9 ball.
Do it, sir. 9.
But I think,
Sublime.
you know, I think that's one of the things that the other Filipino players talk about, Carlo, how, you know, the pressure moments of the tournament, that's the most pressure for the Filipinos. You know, in the pool room, it's not the pressure of the action matches or the big handicaps. It's the tournament scene that gets the big pressure. And
well, they can never take a U.S. Open title away from you.
yeah, well, that's for sure. But Carlo seems to be one of the Filipinos that really comes with it in the tournament play.
You can always lose your money and get it back. You can't lose a trophy. It's gone forever in that particular year.
Great stuff.
The gap continues to shrink. It was 8-3, now it's 8-6. Match on. Down to you, Carl and Michael in the arena.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, Carl, it looked like it was going only one way, but that's Paul for you. A good comeback.
Yeah, Yapp should have gone 9-3 up. He made a mistake, didn't get on the 9 ball, and Carlo's closed the match. He's made a game of this.
Carlo is more experienced. He's probably been in these situations more than Yapp. Will that tell?
It's a tricky one, really, because Yapp has played really good all week, hasn't he? And he's beat some big names. It's the finals, a lot of pressure, and it's just so hard to see how it's going to go.
Feels like a home crowd as well for Carlo. They're all cheering for him.
Yeah, the atmosphere in here is brilliant down here. It's an enthralling match, and the fans and me and you, we just love a close match, don't we?
How heavy is this, by the way? Have you tried?
I've never picked it up, pal.
No.
I lost in final.
Sorry, mate. Oh, hit a nerve there, Phil.
Yeah, lost to a very good player, mind you. Kevin Cheng in 2015 did, Carl boys. Came close. It was a heroic run that came up just short. Just thinking, you know, Philippines, synonymous with pool. What a great nation it is for that sport, and yet they've only had one winner at this US Open. Okay, Alex Pagulayan of Filipino heritage won in 2005, but he was representing Canada. You have to go back to 1994 and the truly great Efren Reyes, who beat Nick Varner in the final that year.
Rack number 15.
Yeah. Many expected more from Efren in that U.S. Open, but
Mr. Biado.
you know, I believe Reed Pierce beat him in the final. Maybe Nick Varner beat him in the final. So, yeah, Carlo Biado trying to follow probably, well, I'd have to say in sports, maybe Pacquiao or somebody like that. Maybe a little bigger, but
Jeremy,
I don't
look at this.
Yeah,
8 ball down, finally a look. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, but I don't think any more sportsmen in the Philippines more loved than Efren Reyes.
Well, he got to 4 consecutive US Open finals, one in 94, runner-up the following 3 years. Carlo Biado would love to emulate the great man and get his name on that trophy.
Another great Filipino tried to win it one year, if I recall. Did you? Oh, boy. It's a double kiss as he
snookered. And that's I understand he thought the one was going to come upward, but I thought he maybe should run into the 6. The combo was such an easy combo, right? Just check the cue ball with a little right spin and go into the 6 with a cue ball.
It seems an aberration to snooker yourself behind the 6. I couldn't agree more. It's an astute find, Jeremy. These are the little things that add up, of course. We do rate him to make this. He hasn't been totally dialed
Extension,
with this
please.
jump cue. Extension called.
Yeah, it seems to me that he's overhit most of them, so he's lost a little accuracy by kind of hit the ball a little
Didn't overhit
hard.
that one, though, Double J. What a shot. If I may, briefly, I was going to say you defeated Parika in that final,
That's right, yeah.
So another great Filipino who came oh so close. What a shot
three
this
times
was.
in the final he lost, maybe. So
that's a tough one to swallow. Illustrious career, though. Might have to go behind the back here. They rarely do that nowadays with the extension and so on.
Yeah, and Carlo doesn't mind the crutch at all. Okay, nice shot.
Nicely done, especially with the beeping of the time clock during his backswing. This is touchy, though.
Yeah, I don't, you know, if he hits it very lightly, he can catch the 7 and still make it. But if he hits a little speed on it, it could ricochet off the 7 into the point. Okay, nice. Where's the 7 going?
Watch out.
Where's the 7 going? Uh-oh.
He'll have to show us some of that combination ability he's shown throughout the tournament. And believe us, this is a lot more difficult than it may look on your screen.
You just combination, you size it up like he's doing, and then you just have to trust what you're seeing and make the stroke.
Oh my. And they love it here in Atlantic City.
It's a combination of skill and nerve that's taken Biado to the brink of being just one behind.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get to the second rail here. A little dangerous. Yeah, you usually just float. You better say a little something to it. Wow. Watch for the kick here. If this ball kicks a little bit, I doubt he'll have any issue, but wants clean contact between the cue ball and the 9.
We can see how outstretched he is. Beautiful camera work here. And he's got it.
The Carlo Biado cheering section now in full voice. Remember, at his lowest ebb, he was 8-3 behind. Now, Yapp's lead is just a single rack at 8-7. The US Open final hasn't been all square since 3-3. If Carlo Biado wins this 16th rack, it will be all tied up once more. He is a man with momentum. And also a man with great support here.
Absolutely, when we were on
Rack
the break.
number 16, our current score is 8-7 in favor of Mr. Yapp. Mr. Biado to break.
The crowd took turns. Biado chants, Yapp chants. Looks like he's gotten this break pretty dialed in. Watch the 6, watch the 1.
Yeah, and he's overcome a few things. Watch out for the golden break here. Now the 1's come up enough. The 2 has been roughly in the same place the last few racks. The 3 is difficult. The 4-7 definitely playable on the side. So it's going to be not only making the 1, but he has to land underneath the 1 or somewhat, or underneath the 2 or somewhat straight in on the 2 to have any chance to get on the 3, right?
Jeremy's alluding to him trying to get on
the rail,
9 ball's side of the 2 ball to retain the proper angle to get to the 3, and it looks like he's overshot the mark a little. Maybe he can draw back
for the bank. The cross-side bank isn't bad.
Cross-side bank is not bad.
I mean, the pink 4 is near. Of course, Carlo, who, again, repeatedly relies on the draw stroke a lot of times. He can pull this cue ball out to a thin cut on the 3.
Could he follow 2 rails and just circumvent the 8?
Maybe.
He's cueing low, Jeremy.
He's taking the bank.
That he is.
And the thing is, you know, I don't think he's settling for a safety to bang this away. Most would understand that, but I think he would have looked at something else to try and stay offensive, or maybe taken his extension. Now on this table, he's overhit them, and they've gone long. Many people think that you have to hit them hard to make them short. It's actually quite the opposite on this table. It's more of a clean hit that shortens it up.
And a clean hit it was. What a shot, down 8-7. The U.S. Open final.
And the good thing is the mentality to settle for the bank.
You saw it right away. We're on the verge of a tie ball game, gentlemen.
And Yapp's no dummy. You know, he knows that he had a chance to, you know, maybe run the set. Who knows the way these guys are playing. But he also knew if Carlo gets a chance back at the table, 8-3 was definitely a lead you could come back from the way these guys are playing.
They certainly have the utmost respect for each other. Beautifully navigated run here. Settled for the bank that Jeremy alluded to. Came with it with absolute authority, much like he just put that 8 in the side. What a deficit he's overcome to tie this thing up at 8-8.
The tide is turned on the Jersey Shore comprehensively. 5 racks on the spin for Carlo Biado. And here we are all locked up. 8 racks each. It's a tournament that deserved a great final. Doesn't always work out like that. Sometimes you have blowouts. Look at the World Masters this year when Alexander Kazakis whitewashed Shane Van Boening 9-0. That was something of an anticlimax in terms of drama, if not a great story. This one, though, couldn't be better poised.
Yeah, and you see 2 guys, like I said before at the beginning of the match. I think Carlo, more of a wanting situation, has come close a few times. Never to the final, yet, but you know, more of that seasoned vet that you expect to want the win here. Where Yapp, it really looks like he's enjoying the moment, but maybe has played the best pool of the week of any player.
And of course, young Aloysius Yapp. God only knows what exactly is circulating through his mind. I think we all have an idea. Does look like Biado has solved the break.
Rack number 17.
for lack of a better.
We are currently all tied up at 8 games apiece. Mr. Biado to break.
Yeah, it seems these guys are going to come with a shot, so maybe it's a glaring mistake coming down the end from one of these guys that we might remember. Hope not. I'm sure they're, like I said, just like the last rack, they're going to come with the shots.
Corner ball cooperates. One ball kicked slightly.
Yeah, I don't know if offense is a possibility this time. Now the 2 is end up pretty much in the same position again.
Safety navigations are a bit tricky here.
Yeah, if you're feeling good, you come across it real nice and heavy and come 2 rails and really freeze them on the back of the 3. This is a shot that the Filipino players kind of taught us all, that you should be confident enough to lay this down, really.
Have to mind the 1 going into the 7 just in case we don't get there. Looks like he's playing that shot. Or is he just kind
it's
of
all or nothing, though.
Drifting over there and leaving the 1
No, this
around.
is he's trying to come on it. Now, he played it a little more guardy, meaning he didn't let the 1 come up as much, and he ignored planning. The cue ball froze to the 3, so a little more air for Yapp.
As you said before, something of a containment shot, a little more so, and Yapp will certainly try to return the favor.
Yeah, this is just a medium stroke with a high ball. Should contain the cue ball down below the 3 somewhere.
For the 1 to go towards the purple and blue. Or how about right in the side? Got a little lucky-ish there. Kind of careened off the point. Down table. Biado will have to navigate this. Jeremy?
Well, I'll tell you, I think I might go for the make here. I know there's 2 ways you can do it. In the side looks like a better chance to sell out to me. I think I try to kick it in the corner. Let the cue ball slide towards the 4, maybe slides towards the 2. Could make it and get shape.
Oh, great call, Jeremy. That's sort of what he minded, and it's rather unfortunate for Carlo that it struck the red 3 so flushly. We can hear the Yapp fans in the crowd rallying their man on.
Yeah, don't get too involved with getting on the good side of the 3 here later on if you're Yapp. It's going to be dangerous to try and gain an angle on the 2 that will get you by the purple 5 and back for
Extension,
the 3.
please.
So I try to get close to this 2 ball nice and heavy as much as I can. If I have to draw back and play a 3-8 combo, it's not the end of the world.
Massively important track for Yapp's morale as well as the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think if you ask the young man, though, he'd still say, I'm loving life right now.
Can he draw back and just miss the purple 5 ball, also mindful of the brown and the black, for a look at the 3, Jeremy?
I don't think the purple is really, unless you really stun the ball and not draw it, I don't think the purple is much of a problem. May end up on top of the 3 if he hits it really well. Oh, look at this. Oh, no.
Watch out. This has to slow down. This has to slow down.
Wow.
But what a pure stroke that was.
Yeah.
I mean, a little too pure, obviously, but my ball in hand is a welcome
clock,
sight
please.
for Carlo Biado right now.
Didn't like the cheering when he went in off. That's not good form.
No, but, it is the final Sunday. Even the fans' emotions are a little strong, you might say. A long week, pulling for their favorites.
Perhaps a few wagers on the side as well.
Well, that could be the case. We never want to see the opposition's quarterback get hurt, but you know how it is.
Okay, a connect the dots sort of affair here. Nothing is foregone in a U.S. Open final, but Biado closing in on his first lead in an awfully long time.
Yeah, didn't carry much of the lead in the semifinal match till the very end.
Has he fallen awkward here, Jeremy?
No, he's not got too much angle to where he can't work the cue ball easily with a little top inside. Key to this is don't try to get all the way down there. It's not that hard. A little above the head string is plenty.
Well said. Lovely little follow stroke there. Effortless force of sorts.
Okay, don't let the speed get away from you. This can come off hot sometimes. Just kind of coast into position just like that.
The scratch was costly for Yapp. For the first time since 3-2, Carlo Biado hits the front. 9-8. This is Saturday Night Live at the pool. And what a contest. We've been calling him a cool customer all week, Aloysius Yapp. That will now be put to the test. And then some.
Well, absolutely. Phenomenal finals here. One of the better ones that I can recall.
Yeah, and you wouldn't chalk that up as like a glaring error. A little unfortunate. You know, he's trying to move the cue ball from 8 feet away, 8 feet back down the table, and just kind of caught that track, and the last revolution and a half took him into the pocket.
Biado suffered his share of upsets and upsetting moments. Beaten in finals like the Players' Championship in 2019. The World 9-ball in 2018. Runner-up in the World 10-ball in 2015. He knows the devastation of losing when you're so close to claiming a trophy. He wants to avoid that and be able to celebrate
in favor of Mr. Biado.
In 4 racks time.
Biado to break.
Yeah, I think the World Cup of Pool as well, right? They lost with Jeffrey DeLuna in the final to Team Austria, who seemed so dominant in that tournament.
Corner ball obliges.
Yeah, the one is agreeing, it looks like.
Tracking and an open look.
Yeah, he's got to deal with a 4-6 combo most likely later. But really not too difficult of a combination if he gets some type of decent position. Just roll forward for the 2 on the side here, Nick.
I suppose so.
It's a little funny though, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit funny. If we fall on the racker's side of the table, he's on something of the wrong act. This is a tricky little table here.
Yeah, he's got to go past the 8 with the cue ball. But like Nick said, if he's going towards the 6 with the cue ball when shooting the 2, things become very difficult. And he's really threading the needle here. Straight ain't that great either, but it is okay.
Does he ever stop his ball there and draw 1-2 rails into the pink?
I don't think so. I think when these guys, you know, they settle in, they don't worry so much, right? They'll accept this combination on the 4-6. I think he just holds there, pockets the 3 with just a regular high ball. Now he's going to figure out where he wants to shoot the combo from.
That's what it looks like he's doing, sizing up the ideal spot.
Yeah, once you get comfortable, you're really willing to work through the rack. It's a little shy there. I mean, you want to be a hair on that side of it, but it's something I've actually expressed to some of the American players that can't be looking for the easy side. You have to be willing to work for what you're getting.
The right side, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, just, you know, if you're panicking trying to open this 4-ball up, you know, that's kind of a panic instead of realizing how good you are, right?
One thing that's nice about this shot is it affords very natural position on the pink after pocketing the 6, were he to do so.
Yeah, should play it at a lighter speed to open the pocket a hair.
Oh, that's just lovely there. Stellar.
Second big combination in just a short span of time, both stinging Aloysius Yapp.
Well, it's really been you know, a short story at the beginning of this match with Carlo getting that lead, but past that, a tale of two stories, completely different.
Indeed, we can see how mindful he was of
got that a little thick.
Not touching the 8 with his arm there. Almost had an inverted elbow of sorts.
Yeah.
One rail out.
Yeah, he likes to use the second rail. We all do, but I think here you just coast into position, use a little talent with the speed. I don't, you know, it's going to take a rollout situation. It looks like it's going to take something of misfortune to get Carlo from the table. He's settled in.
From 3-1 down, Yapp won 7 consecutive racks. Now, though, the boot is on the other foot. 10-8, Biado. While you were away, Carlo Biado scratched. Now, don't be alarmed, it wasn't on the table, it was with his cue. Yeah, had an itchy back and used his cue to ease the itch. He's trying to scratch a 27-year itch for the Philippines when it comes to US Open glory.
And he can taste it right now. 3 racks away. You can feel it, though. 3 ball's been cooperating. Position on the 1 is obliged as well. First part handled.
Speed on the 1 looks perfect.
Oh, and once
look
again.
At the 2 ball. Wow, another jump shot he should handle, but he may not be able to draw back for shape.
Oh, he's instantly grabbing the jump cue, and naturally he'll have to shake off the disappointment and the 2-ball impeding his path to focus on this jump shot.
Yeah, something like 7 out of 10 on the make. Like I said, I'm not sure if he's really straight on this, if he can draw for position.
He'll want to get a maneuverable angle on the purple.
Yeah, should be short side on the green though. I mean, maybe he does draw the ball a lot, but he doesn't mind short side. So I'd love to draw back a little past where I'm at now. You know, straight in on the 6 in the upper corner is nice to get on the 7. So again, his preference.
Short side, Jeremy's alluding to playing the 6 up in the top right-hand corner where the 1 ball resides now. Oh, he followed his ball, and that's lovely there if it settles.
No, it's great, actually. And that's what I mean about staying aggressive, where a lot of people would settle for that nice angle, but some 3 or 4 feet away, further away, where Carlo really tries to stick to how and what he likes at the table. Oh, he's drawing it. Okay. And now he goes to the high ball. No reason to draw this. 0.
Yeah, just like you said a while ago, Jeremy, nice call. Keeping it simple is falling a little bit straight here. Wanted a bit of an angle to bounce off of the rail and out.
Yeah, but that's where recognizing the 8 is very accessible. You know what I'm saying? Don't panic because you're going to be a little straight in. You know, if the 8 was somewhere else on the table now, we may have some worries, but don't force the 6 to get a little off the rail on the 7. Now, do you fall straight here? Now, that could start to be a little complicated.
Yeah, nicely said, Jeremy. Does he have to run into the 9, perhaps, and kind of accept?
I don't know. Can he get a piece of the 9 here with a little light stun? Or is he just
awkward?
Oh, he got by
it. He was able to circumvent the 9.
Well, I don't know if you saw where he hit that 7 to. He hit it to the very top of the pocket. That way the cue ball didn't go towards the 9. If he cuts it towards the center, I think he rubs a piece of the 9. And
quite fascinating, really, choosing which part of the pocket to try to make the ball. Oh, lovely little stroke there, and it looks like 11-8, gentlemen.
Wholesale turnaround. We've seen a little bit of everything on the main match table at the US Open over the last 6 days. The one thing we haven't really seen is a monumental fight back. We're seeing it now. Bear in mind, Carlo Biado was 8-3 down. Now, though, he's within sight of overall triumph. 11-8 the lead.
Yeah, 8-3 down. And he saw a young Aloysius Yapp end up short on the 9 ball. Caught it thick to the pocket, and from there it's been all Philippines.
Yeah, we discussed the cliches, or I don't know, the mental side of things, but you've been there, Jeremy, for Carlo right now. Naturally, he's a human being, but what's it like out there closing in? You remember what you were feeling, or were you just kind of unconscious out there?
A little bit unconscious for sure, but it's just, you know, stick to your process. We all have a little different process. Stick to your steps, your little tasks before each shot, and see what happens. Carlo, he's won so many titles, so at some time or another he had gotten ahead of himself and realized, and like we all have, learned not to do that. Now, the good thing for Aloysius, I think his mentality, even though it was a very big mistake and crucial, didn't seem maybe so crucial at 8-3 score count at the time, but he knows it's crucial. But he's the type I think can bounce back if given the opportunity. But that's the real problem, isn't it, Nick? The opportunity.
Well, indeed.
Rack number 20. Our current score is 11-8 in favor of Mr. Biado. Mr. Biado to break.
As it's been going, the pink has been cooperating very nicely in conjunction with the yellow. Pink down. Cue ball gets kicked. And the 1 ball gets kicked from the 2 and impeded by the green. So, Jeremy, this was that exact chance you were referring to for Aloysius Yapp to have another look of sorts.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure. Maybe near the 7 is where you roll out. I got to look
Push out
around.
call.
But the problem with that is
Mr. Yapp, your option.
he can't give this up with the 8-9-3-5 there. He's got to chop on the left side of the 1 and play it over to the side and bring the cue ball all the way down. That's why you practice coming to the middle of the end rail with the cue ball off of all these types of shots. It's not easy, but that's the spot for the cue ball right now.
One would imagine that he's a hair cold right
he's
now as
hitting right
well.
English. Is he trying to kick behind this? This isn't any good. It's going to get away from him. And that's a little experience recognizing that shot was just not any good. It was too close to the rail, Nick.
You saw it right away, Jeremy, that the shot simply did not have a future due to the physics of the situation or geometry, whatever it is. And
This is a vast arena, but on that shot there was simply no room.
indeed, Phil,
Yeah,
this
exactly.
does fit by the 8.
Yes, it does, and it offers easy position. And I hate to say it, but we all want that hill thriller, but I think Aloysius is going to need some luck to get back at the table. And I know this isn't the case game, but it seems like that was the opportunity off the break to slow Carlo down. And, well, I liked Aloysius taking on the shot, but I think the shot selection got the best of him.
And perhaps we don't all want the hill thriller. The diminutive, mild-mannered Carlo Biado might be content to close this one out unchallenged.
Yeah, well, if he does, you'll hear more noise than you may have ever heard from the 37-year-old Filipino world champion, looking to add another huge title. Many consider the biggest.
And start to possibly lay claim to being perhaps the second greatest Filipino pool player of all time. It's all subjective, and he hasn't closed it yet.
Well, I'll tell you, if he does it, I think he was going to get there anyways one day and probably get this title anyways one day, but would certainly get him into the Hall of Fame.
He's playing Hall of Fame pool, there's no doubt about that. The winning streak of Carlo Biado is extended to, would you believe, 9 racks. The ineffective safety from Aloysius Yapp proving very expensive. Carlo Biado is on the hill. So much has been against him this week. Lost his 4th match, as we said, to David Al-Qaedi. But he just kept on fighting. And keeping on is exactly why he's here and how he's turned this final around.
Looks like Yapp is reflecting on that kick you were talking about earlier, Jeremy. He just kind of shook his head. It feels like he wishes he had that one back. For Biado on the hill here. What a moment this must be.
Yeah, but he's a young man that pays attention and realizes it's just really one opportunity it takes to get going. So the thing that I've seen from Carlo and commented about it in the semifinal and at the start of this final, that I don't think I've seen him get totally comfortable yet. Now, the last 5 or 6, 7 racks, we've started to see it.
Definitely seems to be in a trance of sorts.
Rack number 21. Our current score is 12-8 in favor of Mr. Biado. Mr. Biado to break on the hill.
Now this is his last break. Used to make the mistake of, oh, don't scratch, think about negative things. No, keep doing the positive. Get at it like you've been doing it.
Love that, Double J. That's exactly what Carlo did. Watch out.
Oh, a 9-ball's dressing up for the U.S. Open title.
Do you favor the combination or the carom here, Jeremy?
The overhead tells me probably the kiss shot, Nick. Looks a little thin and stretched to be shooting the combination. Everyone on their feet. It's close. Which way do you go? He can go through the one, banking the one back down. It looks like he's sizing up the combo, and the extension has been taken.
He's made 2 dynamite combinations already.
I think it's the kiss shot, though, Nick.
Looks like he's lined up to play the kiss.
Oh, my. Oh, my. So there's still pool to be played here in AC.
There certainly is. My heart just dropped to my stomach.
So inventive, the Filipinos. Can't believe it didn't drop. It was maybe half an inch from glory.
Well, now Yapp's got to
Extension,
regroup
please.
because when he saw that 9-ball get dressed up after the break, I ain't going to lie, there was a little bit of a, I wouldn't say total slouch, but a little air got let out of his chest. You could see it. He's got to regroup.
He sure does. This is a good place to start.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
Well, you rarely see that, but
Yeah.
frustration speaks for itself.
And, you know, he can only pray for another shot, but he knows he probably won't get one, and probably, you know, hate to say it, but, you know, probably deserving now that Carlo runs out to win the title.
Yeah, and for Biado, he has to sort of feel like it's his tournament to win now, meant to be, so to speak. Yapp, who's been so flawless, for him to miss that one, he's fallen a little bit short of the mark here, though. He has to either hold this or accept a bit of distance on the 3.
He's so close, though. It's easy to hold it. Now, this is more of the shot when nerves are high. Holding this ball, he doesn't really have room to go to the rail with the 7 being there, so should be all right. But I've seen things go wrong with this shot before.
Just wants to pinch it over. And that's nicely done there.
And Carlo will come 2 rails and get fairly heavy on the 6. Try to get straight on the 7 to have a little angle on the 8 to come around for the 9. Well, Phil, what's your take from here?
At this stage, anything can happen. We've seen that with the 1-9 carom, but Yapp must be fearing the worst.
Yeah, well, percentages led towards a Filipino champion with 4 making it to the final 8. We thought Yapp was going to overcome all of that, but looks like Carlo's going to get it done.
Well, he's fallen a little bit awkward, Jeremy. He's got
Yeah.
the bridge in his hand.
You're welcome,
Not a
sir.
ton of angle, a little stretch, not the easiest to follow through, not the easiest to punch.
He's
what
home.
A shot. What a shot.
The Philippines have another one.
Yes, the Philippines are going to be back to pool preeminence. Let it go, Carlo. Let it go. Traditionally jumping on the table, and who can blame him? Sent to the one lost side of the draw after losing his 4th match, but then with the heart of a Filipino lion, he's fought back, and he fought back in this match.
Yeah, tremendous tournament.
Aloysius Yapp
Very well
led
played.
8-3, but then the 9-ball went astray, and Carlo Biado never looked back from there. He won 10 consecutive racks
Very well.
to capture this title. and he emulates the great Efren Reyes by being a US Open champion from the Philippines. Jeremy, Nick, how about that?
Yeah, well, first off, hats off to a young Aloysius Yapp. He'll be back. I think we can all agree about that. But I'll tell you, Carlo Biado, I wouldn't say it was his B game, but it wasn't always his A+ game until he really needed it down 8-3, Nick.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It was a phenomenal performance from both of them. As you said, Aloysius Yapp has emerged as a star in international pool. What a match.
I think Michael Bridges getting ready to do the prize presentation down there. Carlo Biado, he's full of energy. And the bank balance is also full of $50,000 US. That's exactly what winning the US Open 9-ball championship means to a former world 9-ball champion. What a double to complete.
No.
I think he's getting overcome with emotion here. You can understand it. For pool players to come here and to capture this title, well, it's a dream come true.